Well, good morning, everyone. So we've just announced the Microsoft Information Protection SDK that went live this morning for public preview. What I wanted to share with you folks was the fact that we haven't been doing this all by ourselves in a black box. And we actually have a bunch of folks that were working with us early on and actually building capabilities with the Microsoft Information Protection solution as it was under development. So our panel today is a pretty veritable list of who's who, well-renowned in the industry. So we have Tony Tamelis, who's our VP of Product Management for Digital Guardian, Bharat Vasudevan, Senior Director for Marketing at ForcePoint, Nicholas Shelley, the Business Development Architect at McAfee, Amit Cohen, Product Management Leader from Varonis, and then we have Philippe Meyer, who's our VP of Research and Development from Secude. A lot of these partners have gone ahead and built capabilities with the Information Protection SDK. As a matter of fact, we're vital partners in helping us evolve the SDK as we brought it to market. So just a little bit of a refresher on exactly what we are trying to go do from an information protection standpoint. From a Microsoft Information Protection perspective, when we talk about the overall vision, this is not only just for Microsoft products. We want to go ahead and do this for a broader ecosystem when it comes to going ahead and detecting, classifying, protecting, and monitoring capabilities. And these capabilities permeate across devices, cloud, and on-premises. And these kind of environments, what we've seen going back and forth is the fact that there are a multitude of players that are currently in question. And it helps customers like yourselves to make sure that your investments are well protected as when you work with our stuff along with our partners. So to that effect, the way one would consume this consistency of experience, as it were, comes across from various different tools and capabilities. So here we have a set of Office capabilities and Microsoft capabilities that we bring to bear as part of our information protection capability. And in addition to that, we have ISV solutions as well. So to that effect, what I'd like to be able to go do is call on Tony and kind of share, if you will, on exactly what they've gone ahead and done from a Digital Guardian standpoint from an integration perspective. Tony?
Thank you, Kartik.
Can you hear? All right.
Can everybody hear me okay?
All right. There we go.
Okay. All right, so hi everybody. My name is Tony Tamelis. Happy to be here from Digital Guardian. Digital Guardian is a threat-aware data protection platform. We have endpoint agents that run on Windows, Linux, and Mac, and we have a network appliance that detects network traffic. We are integrating Microsoft Information Protection in all of our components. Our components are all orchestrated essentially from the cloud, and we have workspaces, we do analytics and reporting, we have a management console so that you can orchestrate all of it, and finally we have applications that can be layered on top of it. Things like classification, things like encryption, things like connections to partners like Microsoft with MIP. Thanks. So what are the use cases that we cover? Across the endpoints and across the network, we can help use MIP when emails are being sent, when files are being uploaded or downloaded, when files are moved to cloud storage devices, and the regular case that everybody knows when you copy a file to USB. So what I wanted to do is give you an example. So you can click next again.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a nice little demo. What we're doing over here is we use a document collaboration tool called Confluence. Confluence contains all of our product roadmap, right? So it's super sensitive, secret information. You can see here a product manager has opened a Word document inside of Confluence, and you can see it renders fine in the browser. Then what they're doing is they're saving it. When they save it to their local machine, two things happen. DG recognizes the fact that the file was saved and calls Microsoft Information Protection to protect that file. And as you can see, once that file is opened, it'll be opened in a moment here in the video, and it's opened in a Word document. DG has called the Microsoft Information Protection SDK, and the SDK has automatically labeled and protected the file. So what you can do with this is you can use it in an online or an offline mode. There are no network components needed here. And you see on the top left, DG protection, which is the label that we called it, and obviously the file has a label and encryption component applied to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tony. So in addition to that, I mean, and as we move along, I think one of the other bigger problem is that when you try to go down the route of information protection, the first challenge that you have is around trying to identify what is your class, information that you have and what is sensitive. And to that effect, what we ended up doing was working with Amit and at Varonis and trying to work out ways where we can further expand on that integration and how we can help the e-discovery problem as such. Amit?
Hi, everyone. My name is Amit, and I'm the product lead for classification and search in Varonis. You'll understand our data security platform throughout this short presentation. And with Microsoft and Varonis integration brings out the best of both worlds. Users can manually label files, and Varonis can ingest this information and provide additional context over the content of the file. Now, Kartik just mentioned challenges, and one of the first challenges you'll face when you're implementing a new labeling policy is what will you do with all the past created data? Who will label it? Will you leave those files unlabeled, or will you label all these files manually? That's a challenge. Varonis can scan your entire organization, no matter how much data there is, and by utilizing our sophisticated rule capabilities and hundreds of identifiers out of the box, we automatically find and classify sensitive data, regulated data, like GDPR, HIPAA, PCI, and so on. And our interface and the integration lets you configure which MIP label to apply. And if the policy of MIP includes protection, we will also encrypt those files. Now, we all know that the first step for risk mitigation is actually know where your sensitive data is. And no matter what the solution is, whether it's manual labeling or automatic labeling, we will know where your sensitive data is, who has access to it, and who has been accessing it, and where your sensitive data is too exposed. But we can help you enhance policy enforcement by automatically labeling and encrypting files, but we can do much more. We can remediate access to sensitive files, okay? And we can also monitor, or we're constantly monitoring files and activity to files to actually look for misbehaviors, okay? And misbehaviors are not, it doesn't have to be users that don't have permission, but users that are authorized to access those files, but have been, maybe it's disgruntled employees, maybe it's an account that has been hijacked by attackers. And we constantly alert by using and utilizing a lot of threat models. And those alerts basically serves the security team as an action plan. Now, our joint solution with Microsoft enhance Varonis not only to provide quarantine solutions and classification solution, but actually provide persistent classification solution and encryption, making all your important information protected inside and out of the organization. If you want to hear more about it, we're just a block away, Varonis 3210.
Thank you, Amit. So, thank you very much, Amit. In addition to that, one of the things that we also have, how many of you folks actually have a cloud access security broker in your organization? There we go. So one of the things that we would also doing is exploring exactly beyond DLP, beyond e-discovery, also working with partners who also offer cloud access security broker capabilities as such. And to that effect, we've been working with SkyHigh, or formerly SkyHigh, now McAfee. And Nick, why don't you enlighten us a little bit?
All right, thank you very much. So, does this build out?
All right.
Yeah, just build it out all the way. So
There we go.
So I work at Sky High McAfee, and really our mission here is to make cloud safe. So really, what does that mean? Organizations are adopting all kinds of cloud applications all the time, and not only are they adopting the most basic ones, but they're also adopting edge case scenarios where you're looking for CASB services to help enable smooth and secure workflow. We're also living in the infrastructures as a service space and looking at all the different things that people want to do as they enable cloud and make cloud safe. Go ahead, next one. So our methodology here, go ahead and build that out for me, please.
Yep.
Is to first look and understand what kind of data is really moving out to these cloud environments. So again, in a SaaS environment, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, we have rich DLP policies that help you see this is the kind of data, these are the kind of users that are performing these actions, and we're showing that across all your different SaaS and cloud applications. Go ahead and build this out a little more.
All right.
And one more. So when we're looking at that, we can take real-time action against this within the cloud or within the path to the cloud. So this is where we step in with Microsoft Information Protection and say, what if we see a situation where maybe PCI data or a social security number or some other kind of intellectual property is headed to a cloud destination or being improperly shared within a cloud destination? Then at that point in time, we can apply protection. So one of those protection measures could be something as simple as don't allow that action to take place, or use Microsoft Information Protection to label and or encrypt that information so that the organization has really strong visibility on exactly what's happening with that data.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Nick. And now, how many of you folks actually have business applications like SAP or anything of that sort? Just a show of hands. All right. Okay. Perfect. So we've also been working in that area too, where we also have classified information. For example, HR relevant data or resource planning data that may be sitting inside an SAP type environment. And we have partners like Secude that actually help persist that classification, that confidentiality onto when you export data out of those systems. So, Philippe, why don't you come and just enlighten us a little bit?
Right, everybody knows that, SAP holds one of the most valuable information in the world. Right, your company holds so much information in SAP that's so valuable. And you can make it relatively secure within the boundaries of SAP. Now the problem comes if you export this information, which you can, which is absolutely fine to do so. However, there is absolutely no control whatsoever once the data leaves the system. So what we provide is, and we help the customers with it, is basically first and foremost we provide an audit trail. So you will understand what happens on your system when somebody downloads or exports information. Now with this, obviously, it's only half of the battle, right? You at least know what's going on. But even more so, you want to keep certain information just within the boundaries of the system. So user master records or other information that just needs to keep within that system, and that's what we allow. So users cannot download it anymore. Now, one thing is also, there are lots of business processes that actually need the information to be going out, right? You just want to download some finance data, give it to your superior, or you want to download some HR data and discuss with a peer. So that's fully valid, but it has no protection normally. Now what we do, and that's the beauty of our solution, our context-aware solution, and to work together with MIP, that when a user downloads something that he is allowed to share, we know where it exactly comes from, right? If it's finance, HR, or whatever kind of information it is. And what we then do is basically we automatically in background apply the labels and the appropriate protection with our MIP. And so the user gets the information and can share it as normal, and it's already protected. So the company rest assures it stays within the boundaries of their use case. So whenever you want to secure your SAP environment, and especially the data that leaves the system, talk to me. I'm right at the Microsoft booth, and I'll be very welcome to share with you more information regarding it.
All right, thank you. Thank you. And last but not least, what we'd like to also do is bring Bharat in from ForcePoint to kind of talk about exactly how they also provide a more of a holistic solution when it comes to Microsoft Information Protection and ForcePoint. Bharat?
Thanks, Karthik. When we start having these conversations, a lot of times we start asking a little bit more introspective questions, like what's important about your data, what it is or where it resides. And before we started dealing with SaaS applications, it was all like, what is the data? But now we all have to worry about where is it in addition to what is it. I mean, it's sort of the world we're in now. Now, when we look at this idea of classification or just finding your data, what we always run into now, it's on-prem, it's in the cloud, it's on an endpoint, it's basically anywhere your employees are. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are trying to help you find your data. We have discovery tools as well to help you identify it. But then, couple of problems we have to solve, right? One is that of the data is lost, which, you didn't know it was there, it's lost, it's missing. But then this other problem, something slightly more nefarious, right? The data is stolen. Ultimately, putting the right controls in place are going to help you address some of that. And Karthik, you want to go ahead?
Yep.
One of the things that we do is specifically working with partners like Microsoft. We don't have our own data classification system. What we do is we work with everybody. So we want to make sure that whatever you guys are comfortable with, whoever is best of breed, we want to make sure we're working with them. So one of the things we do is we try to keep your policies for everyone how many of you guys have DLP today? Yeah, what we want to do is we want to take that policy you have on-prem and extend that same capability to when you move into SaaS applications. Alternatively, if you're coming from the SaaS application, we want to make sure you protect a lot of that as it moves throughout your organization. So when stuff's in motion, when stuff's in flight, when stuff moves out of the Microsoft ecosystem, we want to make sure that their data classification policies extend even when things may or may not have been classified properly. It's one of the big differences. So we'll catch it through our fingerprinting, identify that something's incorrect, work through their APIs, go back, make the calls, classify things properly, so then that permission can persist as it moves throughout your network. It's really one of the things we've been working with Microsoft from the beginning. I think we spent a little bit of time at Ignite last year, and there's a lot more integration that's happening between us and Microsoft at ForcePoint.
Thank you, Bharat. And I mean, one of the key things here to note is that we've been a lot of the folks that just came on stage and kind of talked about their offering, they've actually been very instrumental to bring the SDK to where it's at. It's been refined, battle tested, so even though the SDK that we're bringing to bear is an initial version, and it's in public preview right now, it's been tested, validated with turnkey applications. Now, with that, I'm going to ask all the panel members to come on stage, if you don't mind, all the panel members. So any kind of Q&A that you have, and by the way, please do take a moment to savor this. This is the only time you will actually see in this exhibition, ForcePoint, McAfee, DG, Varonis, all sharing the same stage. All right. So again, any questions, any concerns or thoughts that you have, please feel free to go ahead and ask, and we've got the folks right here. All right, not all at once. All right, well, thank you very much. We're still here around the booth and in our respective booths. Please come by and feel free to ask questions. Thank you.